First Alert Weather Show is brought to you by Bresky Siding.
All right, good foggy Wednesday evening, Mid-Michigan. Chief Meteorologist Chris Eastlick with your forecast update for tonight. And this is just in downtown Saginaw. I'm sure there are places that are worse than this. And certainly seems like this is going to be a trend for many areas as we go throughout tonight. So dense fog advisories issued for parts of mid-Michigan, not for everybody just yet. I do have a question out for the Weather Service in Detroit to see if they're considering a dense fog advisory as we go through tonight. They're until 7 o'clock in the morning for Isabella, Clare, and Gratiot counties, I believe. Let me get those up for you. Yep, Clare, Isabella, and Gratiot counties, those are until 7 a.m. Have not heard whether those are going to be expanded or not. There is a criteria that is used in order to determine whether to issue one of these or not. Sometimes it comes down to persistence. Sometimes it comes down to how much the numbers are fluctuating and those types of things. So there is criteria into it. And so whether there's an advisory or not, just know that things could be foggy for an extended period of time going into tonight and also tomorrow. Cole, I know this is the live stream here, but would you mind? I forgot to turn the lights on. So sportscaster Cole Martin's here helping me out. Thank you, sir. It's the beauty of the live stream. Christian, fetch me my water, please. I'm just kidding. Christian is our 10 o'clock producer. Appreciate that, both of you. But yeah, we are foggy tonight, and we do have some more wet weather on the way for tomorrow, and certainly looks like that will be mostly rain. And I don't anticipate us having to worry about much freezing rain this time around. Actually got through this morning, it seems like pretty well. Most areas seem like they had good traffic flow, according to meteorologist Matthew Mondro. We did have some school closings, but tough to tell what the back road situation is. We don't get a lot of reports all the time from some of our northern counties. So if you have a report, if you're watching our live stream tonight from our northern counties and you had icy roads earlier this morning, we'd love to hear about that. I certainly would like to gain some perspective on just how your morning went. So feel free to let me know. We actually are avoiding some freezing rain tonight. If you look across Lake Huron here going into Ontario near Goderich, that's not Goodrich. A lot of people tell me that Goodrich is at the wrong spot on the map. That's actually Goderich. Might be pronouncing it incorrectly, but that is a part of Ontario, and they're actually getting some what looks to be heavy freezing rain for tonight. So glad we're not there. Here's a look at your sky tracker. We've got the area of low pressure itself right to our northwest. That's going to keep moving and take this system with it. But what is going to happen as we go into Thursday is we're likely going to start the day dry. We've got some fog to deal with through tonight. We've got some fog to deal with through tomorrow morning. And I wouldn't be shocked if we have some fog to contend with through even the late morning and early afternoon. The wind isn't going to be terribly strong tomorrow, so where it doesn't really pick up, I think we have a chance for that fog to linger. The air mass is very saturated. Think of it. We've had not only the melting snow, which has added all of that moisture back into the air, but we've had the rain on top of that, and we really haven't had a ton of wind to go along with it. And again, when that wind doesn't work with us, it just allows all of that moisture to settle. Think of it almost like if you were talking about like chocolate milk mix or something like that. If you just dump the mix in and you walk away, all of that mix just settles at the bottom. It doesn't, or sugar in your iced tea. If you don't stir it up, well, then it just settles at the bottom. So think of that stirring like the wind. If you don't really get that support from the wind to really spread that moisture out over a larger area, it just gets more concentrated at the bottom. And so that's what we're dealing with the last couple of days. Barbara calling it pea soup. That's pretty accurate. Very, very good definition with that. Christy, 33 in Gladwin, very foggy. Didn't get any icing this morning, but a lot of rain, have a lot of standing water. Yeah, we had a flood advisory for Huron and Sand Lac County. That went until 7 o'clock. That was not taken past the original time frame, but you get a lot of those a lot of those field areas that really just soak up that water, and unfortunately we get that nuisance water for the next several days after that. But I do think it'll be, I do think things will get better more efficiently now that we've had a lot of this rain get out of the way, and we still have dry soil underneath. It's not as bad as it was. But things in the big picture are still pretty dry, especially in portions of Huron County. I don't think it'll move much until we kind of clear this out, until we get more wind movement or until we get a much drier air mass coming through. But I don't think it's something that's going to be prolonged, say, into the next 2 weeks or something like that. Nick, foggy in New Lothrop, just missed the storm earlier. Yeah, let me pull that up after the hour by hour. So if you go through tomorrow, we do expect to see some rain. I would say probably more likely in the evening, but I think the earliest rain that we could see tomorrow could happen in the afternoon. You can see some of these projected just to the east of us, right around 3:30. But as we start getting closer, let's just say to probably like 6 o'clock, you can see some of these showers starting to move in, even more so by 8. We keep going through the night. Chance for, I think, a few rumbles of thunder again tomorrow. You see some of these heavier pockets of rain. Usually those are indicative of where this model thinks some thunderstorms could be. You get a little bit more through Friday morning. And then once we get to the commute on Friday, we get what is called the dry slot of the system, where we get a lot of dry air in the middle. It shuts the rain down. Sometimes, especially during the daylight, you can get these patches of clearing that happen at night. It's not as typical. But then what we expect is that as these winds are changing, you can actually see the front right here. You've got a southeasterly wind, and then you've got the southwesterly wind. So the warm front's right here where that wind shift is happening. And behind the warm front, things get drier for a time, but then watch. The winds will switch to more of a northwesterly or westerly direction later as that moisture kind of circles around the storm system itself. And so what is that going to do? Well, it's going to bring the moisture back, but it's also going to bring the colder air back. And so we'll have a chance at some snow showers going into Friday afternoon, and I think we'll have some snow showers going into Friday evening as well. These don't look like they're going to accumulate a ton. I wouldn't expect anything impressive out of them, maybe enough to recoat some grassy surfaces that have had a chance to get brown or green the last couple of days. So that's something that'll be a pretty big swing compared to what we've had most of today and really the last couple of days, where we've had these warm temperatures in the 50s and even getting close to 60 at times. So Lori also says, nice to see some of the dirty snow go away. I agree with that. I hate slush. I hate those big snow piles after a while. I don't mind the snow itself. It was nice for a while when it was all frozen up and it didn't really move, but as it starts to melt, as it gets slushy, as it gets all that dirt in it, just becomes less pleasant to deal with. So I totally agree with you, Lori, too. Good evening, Denise. Very foggy in Reese and in Munger. Let me see if I've heard back from our friends at the Weather Service yet. I have not. They've got a lot of stuff to do, so they may not even get back to me before this stream is done. But we'll keep an eye out. Like I said, whether we get an advisory or not, I think you know whether it's foggy. I don't think you need an advisory to tell you that. We did, again, have those thunderstorms earlier today. Let me see if I could back up on the radar here. Let's go back the last. Those are about 5 o'clock. Here they are right here. So they actually produced a severe thunderstorm warning a little bit earlier, and they just missed our area. So there was a thunderstorm that just came up into Perry and just southeast of there right about 5 o'clock, 5:15. And it seemed like it was intensifying for a minute, had a hail signature, and then pretty much just fizzled out. And what happened was we had some of these stronger storms to the south that it was almost like they got right up to Genesee and Lapeer County, right on the county line, and then they just couldn't sustain themselves from there. But they had a lot of lightning. They had some hailstones with them that were pretty impressive for the time of year anyway. Nothing, nothing noteworthy, but just the fact that they were producing severe hail in February. It doesn't happen all the time. It's a little more common than you might think, but it doesn't happen all the time. And so we got some thunderstorm warnings there, but those are long gone at this point. We were talking about the drought, and again, I want to emphasize the drought conditions that we have in Michigan are more of a long-term drought, because every time I show this map, it feels like I get an angry email from somebody that says, and I suppose I understand it, but it's always, how on earth can you say that we're in drought when we've been so soggy? Well, a lot of this dates back to not last fall, but actually the fall before that. We've had some of these drought conditions going all the way back until October of 2024. That's when some of this was really starting to pop up. But we have charged into that significantly. We have gone straight into it this winter, and we've added the snow on top of that. That snow has melted, it's gotten back in the ground, and so as opposed to drought conditions, we've had more abnormally dry conditions. So that's an improvement. We still have some work to do, but things are moving in the right direction. Western Huron County, and really Huron County as a whole, but Western Huron County especially, has the most work left to do. But again, the more rain events like this we have today, the more snow that we melt, this map has a chance to change. Now, the people who put out the drought monitor, their forecast is for the next 3 months as we go into the spring that this drought will improve. So there are positive signs in the long-term forecast. Derek asks, any accumulations for Friday? Derek, I wouldn't say anything significant. And when I mean significant, I'm talking at least a couple of inches. I wouldn't expect that. They look pretty light. And that's if they even accumulate at all. What you find sometimes is after these rain events, and especially after the warm couple of days that we've had, it doesn't take a lot for that ground to warm back up. I wouldn't say, it's warming back up to soil temperatures in the, the 50s or anything like that. It does take some time, but that surface layer does get a little bit warmer than you might think. And then also you've got water on top of that, and snow that falls into water typically just melts. So we can have that overcome, but it does take a heck of an effort from that snow to actually come to the ground at a rate that's sufficient to overcome that. So I would say if we see any accumulations Friday, you're talking a ½ inch or less. So that's what I mean when I say nothing significant. Sharon, good evening. I'm hoping no snow this weekend. I think there's a chance for some snow on Sunday. Kind of like Saturday at this time. I don't expect anything huge. But we'll kind of focus on that as we get a little bit closer. We're still too far out to feel, in my eyes, confident enough to talk about any snow accumulation potential on Sunday. Highs tomorrow still going to be warm. Upper 40s to low 50s, a little cooler off to the east and northeast next to the water. And again, if you need the hour-by-hour forecast one more time, we expect most of Thursday to be dry, so this is up to 5:30. I would say closer to about, this is this a new model coming in tonight? This is the very latest. This is actually pushing it back even more. This is not bringing rain in until closer to about 10 or 11. I think it could be a little sooner than that. I think the earliest we could see rain is the afternoon, but I think the best chance is in the evening. Now, is it going to be as late as this? My gut feeling says no. I think we see rain sooner than that, but it does have the general evolution of the system right. You're seeing very little pink. There's a few areas that it tries to start some freezing rain, but I just think we'll be too warm on Friday night, or where we do drop off to freezing. I don't expect it to last too long. There's that dry slot we talked about, where the dry air temporarily moves in, and then you get the front that comes through. There's the southwesterly winds at 10:30. They start to turn westerly in the afternoon, then you get the colder air, and then you start getting some snow showers. So that is essentially the rhythm of your Thursday and also your Friday. So that is where things stand for tonight. Appreciate all of you for joining. If anybody has a last minute question, feel free to toss that in the chat really quick. But otherwise, just fog And be careful tomorrow morning with that. We've got mostly cloudy skies Saturday, small chance of wet weather, slightly better chance for some scattered snow Sunday, and then next week, Monday and Tuesday, maybe a chance to dry out. So there's that 7-day. I'll show you some quick visibility. Anywhere you see a 0 doesn't mean no visibility, but it typically means we're somewhere like a quarter to a half or 3/4 of a mile. Just helps us keep the map a little bit cleaner. A lot of areas around 1. Dense fog advisories, again, just in place for 3 counties at the moment, Clare, Isabella, and Gratiot until 7 o'clock. But here is our Saginaw live cam. That's pretty brutal. So advisory or not, some locally dense pockets of fog as we go through the night. All right, let's check the chat one more time and then we will say good night. All right, no problem, Barbara, no problem, Wendy, Sherry, Lori, everybody else who's on. Have a wonderful Wednesday night. We will see you again tomorrow. We'll talk more about Friday, and we'll see if we get some good data for the weekend and start looking ahead towards Sunday and see if anything is consistent enough for us to talk about. If we don't do it tomorrow for Sunday, we'll talk about it on Friday. Until then, have a great evening. We will see you tomorrow.